This is a 10-round CBPBC Canadian Cruiserweight Championship and is brought to you by Molson Canadian. Sanctioned by the Canadian Professional Boxing Council. President, Mr. Don Collette. Ringside Supervisor is Mr. Jamie Taylor. Judges are Chris Souster, Len Quaviso, and Joel Scobie. And now, the official fighter introductions. He's 10, 9, and 2 as a professional, 44 years old, and stands 6 feet tall. He weighed in at 196 1/2 pounds. Fighting from Plimpton, Wyoming, Ontario, Canada. Please welcome out of the Meridian Booster blue corner, the challenger, Frank the Hammer White. And he's 9-3-1 as a professional, 36 years old, and stands 6 feet tall. He weighed in at 200 pounds. Fighting from Cold Lake, Alberta, Canada. Out of the Holiday Inn Express red corner, he is the reigning Canadian Cruiserweight Champion, Rob the Raging Bull Nichols. This bout will be contested under professional rules. The referee in charge is Mr. Claude Cousson.
Okay, guys, championship bout. Listen to my command all the time. Protect yourself at all time. Give you the rules in this room. This is good. This is good right there. Touch it up. Come back at the bell.
Rob Nichols had to wait, after defeating Frank White back in December, had to wait more than a month for his cruiserweight Canadian title to arrive in the mail, and now that he's got it, he does not want to give it back. We will see if Frank White's able to take it back from him this evening. Here we go.
A 10-round battle for the Canadian Cruiserweight Championship. This has become a saga. Frank the Hammer White, Rob Raging Bull Nichols, both men have something to prove. Frank wants that belt back, and Rob wants to show he's a true champion by defending his gold. Rob looks incredibly focused.
Also in absolutely fantastic shape. Even better shape than when we last saw him in December. As we said before, he's been sparring with Tim Kameli, and he said those rounds really helped him get ready for this fight.
Now we know Frank really likes to not do tons of movement. He really likes you to come at him so he can hit you with those incredibly powerful counters. And, you know, I think that's one of the things he's really going to want to do and impose his will on this fight is fight his fight and not fight Rob's fight. The incredible grunt that Frank White has when he comes through, it is something that you don't really know what it is until you hear it, and you just know that there's an immense amount of power behind those punches.
Yeah, it's sort of a mix between an elephant and a professional tennis player, Jay. Rob trying to pest Frank on the ropes.
You know, Rob has really been working on honing his skills, on honing his game. You know, the one thing that Frank said is he dissected his last fight. What he didn't allude to, did he dissect how he fought, or was he dissecting how Rob fights? So it'll be interesting to see the style that he has. But really, this is a lot like the title fight we saw back in Calgary, which was Frank sitting in those corners, making Rob come to him and trying to hit him with those counter punches. But Rob came through as the stronger man in that fight, and we'll see how it transpires here this evening. It
started out being very even, Jay, just like this fight. Rob landing a couple of very good shots there. Frank trying to answer.
Bit of a combination to the body, didn't seem to phase Rob at all. Rob's really working the snap on that jab. I mean, each punch he's thrown has been calculated.
Right, and he's having very good success walking Frank down and pressing his back up against the ropes and imposing his punches on him.
Good body shot. Great straight right by Frank White to just at least stop the forward movement that Rob's been showing here.
His counters are very, very crisp. And Frank's smart in that he's not loading up with full power. He's kind of throwing it about a about three-quarters of his power. Trying to make Rob feel it, but not trying to hurt him with one punch.
No, and that was the thing. I mean, when he was throwing those punches in the title fight back in Calgary, he was loading up every shot, and that just doesn't seem to be the case here, at least in the first round.
Absolutely.
Second round of a potential 10 for the CPBC Canadian Cruiserweight Championship. Interesting combination. A little bit of a stumble there by Frank White.
Rob coming out in this round very, very passive so far, although he's coming forward, kind of trying to figure out Frank.
He's very methodical. I mean, Rob has a chin, I believe it's made of concrete, maybe lead, but...
Possibly granite.
Possibly granite, and he can take those shots and brush them off, but the thing that always blows my mind about him is his eyes. His eyes do not go off what he's fixated on, and right now that looks like it's the head and upper body of Frank White.
He was fixated right on his chin there, landed a couple of very good shots.
Great block of that big left hook. Frank.
Yeah, Frank answering back a little bit, not too much power on it, not compared to Rob, certainly. You know, Jay, Rob says that Frank, although being a very solid, pure boxer, very technically sound, actually is kind of one-dimensional. He fights back at the same, you know, kind of in the same way throughout the fight. And really, Rob says all of his punches have virtually identical power, that he doesn't change it up. Rob's goal is to try to figure out Frank and add wrinkles to his game while Frank keeps throwing the same punches over and over again. That's why Rob's trying to figure him out right now, trying to walk him down, jab him a little bit, and you know, try to hit him with something big.
Frank's definitely got the brawler style, right? I mean, he's got that gritty brawler style. He wants to take his opponent's head off, maybe make him cave when he hits the body. But you know, I would call Rob more of a chess player. He's looking to make those moves. They're all strategic. And I think that comes from some of the incredible coaching he has back home. I mean, he's got an incredible coach with Sterling Craig. This guy is the Rocky style coach, if I could say that. And it was pretty neat. He celebrated his 67th birthday after Rob won the title, and I know he's going to be looking forward to seeing him take it back home.
You know, one thing you really notice, Jay, through Frank's punches, they look good, but they're all arm punches. You know, it might be the fact that he's 44 years old, but his punches don't seem to come from his feet. While you look with Rob, everything starts in his feet, moves through his body, and has just a little bit more snap on it.
Comes down to being the fitness level, I think, as well of Rob. This is a man who's a personal trainer, excuse me, works physically all day long. You know, I mentioned this in his last fight, and I got to mention it again. He's a man who likes to put punishment on people during the day, and then he likes to put punishment on people during the evening. And I gotta say, for a man that's as classy and nice as he is, he really does a lot of damage to people.
Yeah, he's a bit of a pain merchant, certainly. Really trying to work Frank here.
Another conclusion to that round, both men trying to show the game plan, trying to come out and impose their will, and you know, it was a little bit closer of a round, I think, than the first one personally, but you know, we've got a long road ahead of us with a 10-round championship fight. It's really incredible to see how they supported Rob. I mean, he really is their champion. He's a hero within his own community, and that's pretty amazing.
Very good work by Frank White, getting off the ropes there. Rob giving no ground whatsoever.
Great shots by the champion. Those straight lefts, the jabs that he's using, they're effective.
You definitely feel that the more significant blows are being landed by Rob Nichols at this point. I mean, Frank White very much in it.
Absolutely. There's no questions asked that they're both fighters are in this right now, but as we know, especially championship fights, it's always on the challenger to really show that he deserves to in this case, take that belt back. You know, Frank was talking about the pressure related to this fight, and you know, he said to me that he feels all the pressure really is on Rob. I mean, Frank is dare I say, a journeyman in the sense that he's a man that has been through it all in the boxing game. He's won it, he's now lost it, he's defended, he's fought through adversity, and you know, he feels that the pressure faced by Rob by being in his hometown in his first title defense is going to be something that he's going to try to play on and come in here and get that belt back to the East.
You know, he's fed on being a road warrior and the unpopular fighter his entire career, and it really works to fuel his drive, and that's a very impressive accomplishment at 44 years of age. I mean, he's fighting like a much younger man, really hanging in there.
Age takes a toll, but it's a number, and these men dig deep and find the strength and the will to do things that most people can't even dream of.
Rob very much trying to make Frank White feel that his legs are 44 years old. He's going to try and keep walking him down, keep landing on him. Fantastic exchange by Rob Nichols. Great shots. A little bit of rope-a-dope there. You know, a little bit of a tribute to the late Muhammad Ali, who, of course, we all miss greatly. Frank's really trying to egg on Rob. He's trying to make a mistake, get eager, get excited, come in and get caught by that one big punch. And yet the last two exchanges, a big right hand by Rob in the first one, then a nice 1-2 at the end, and Frank White with absolutely no answer so far.
No, and Frank's throwing up his hands like, yeah, this isn't hurting me, but, you know, it's not just about hurting him. It's not just about the knockout. You got to take into account the will that these people are putting on each other and the way the judges are going to score it. It really depends on what the judges are looking for.
He's got Frank White in trouble.
Great shot by the champion coming forward. Frank answering back on a 1-2. Both men chin down, hands up, throwing with everything they got.
That was the first time in the 14 or the several rounds that these gentlemen have fought where one of them looked like he was in danger of going down. Rob landing a very clean right hand there as well. See, Frank landed a fantastic right hand and Rob just shook it off.
Rob's hands have dropped a little bit. You know, I'm not sure if that's a tired thing, maybe a bit of a strategy thing, but great shots to Frank White.
That was a big round for Rob Nichols. Just a fantastic exchange in this round.
Really feels like a championship fight, Davis. I mean, every round has just been the same level of pressure, the same level of tenacity by these guys.
Absolutely. I mean, you know that Frank White's going to be worn back. That said, you really get the feeling that Rob is starting to sit down on his punches and beginning to impose his will on Frank White in a way that, although he won the first fight, he never really had Frank in trouble, and you feel that if things go right for Rob Nichols, you could really see something. Here.
Oh, great shot, but brushed off by the champion there.
You know, the last fight, Frank landed one shot during exchange when Rob turned his back and caught him in the back of the head. Bit of a dirty shot. In that exchange there, you saw Frank had an open shot there and held back. You know, really a clean fight between two fighters who respect each other. Nichols coming forward.
Great body shot. Used that feint to open up Frank a little bit, and it definitely worked. But Frank throwing from his hip there with that left hand, try to literally take the head away from the shoulders of the champion.
Rob landing some fantastic punches to there and a very crisp little right hand to the body. In his training camp, Rob said he really focused on throwing effective body punches this time on Frank, something he felt he could have done better in the first fight, really working on maximizing the leverage from his planted foot, pushing it through the hips into the corner of the hand to try to hurt Frank to the body, slow him down, and bring down his hands. He's landed a few of those so far in this fight, and we'll see if they begin to tell in the later rounds.
That straight left jab that Rob's pushing forward is connecting every time directly on the nose of Frank White.
That punch has been there for him all night for sure.
Good head movement by the champion.
Rob not jabbing at all, just kind of walking in, ready to start and trying to unload his shots on Frank White.
One thing he said is he did want to work that jab, so we'll see what his corner has to say at the end of this round, see if they can get that thing back moving.
You know, His technical ability at being able to force that was really the difference in the first fight. He needs to continue pushing that if he's going to win this fight.
Rob does not seem to be concerned with Frank's power, which, you know, could be a strategy, might be a mistake. But a huge left hand by the champion. And it really doesn't seem to have affected Frank too much, but he's definitely starting to blink a bit more, and I think he's feeling those shots more than he's leading on.
You know, Frank White doesn't have a chin, Jay. He has a beard, and you're really seeing that here.
End of the round. Both fighters return to their quarters, get some quick instructions by their coaches, and then we'll be back at it for our 5th round of 10. We're halfway through this mark, halfway through this fight. These guys have been putting on a show. It'll be interesting to see who turns it up and who backs down here in this later half of the fight. Frank definitely does not seem to have the damage moving into this later half of the fight that he did in the championship fight they had back in Calgary. And so I'm not sure if that damage is a little bit more inconsistent shots by Rob, or if it's just come down to the movement that Frank's been working on.
Excellent lead jab from Frank White there. Really waiting the time Rob coming in. Rob moving his head fairly well. You know, Jay, you can see here there's definitely a hematoma forming under the right eye of Rob Nichols.
Frank sees that, seems to be picking his shots directly, going for that underside of the right eye. Great use of the body there. Frank turning Rob towards the ropes. Referee separates them. Gets him back into the middle of the ring. Nice shot to the body. Quick little reactionary shot there when Frank opened up those arms.
You know, when Rob's walking in now, he needs to know what he's going to do before he gets there, or Frank's going to make him pay.
Rob's really got to start using that jab to at least keep Frank back so he can shut up a few of those shots, just like the one that he just showed me right there.
That's a beautiful body shot followed by a left hand. Frank trying to answer back, but his body shots don't have the crispness. Great shot by Rob.
Some hard shots to Frank White, and just barely phased by those shots.
Very good left hand by Rob as Frank was moving back.
Covers up, gets that body down. Frank working his jab there, snapping the head back of the champion.
Excellent work in close by Rob.
Both athletes connecting on the face, one after the other It's got to take his toll over time.
You know, time and again in the last fight, Jay, I felt like, you know, Frank White's rubber band was beginning to run out of tension, and he kept proving me wrong again and again, and you're really seeing that resiliency here. Rob looking a little bit tired here. Going to be very happy when this round is over, I think.
10 seconds left in our 5th of potential 10 for the CPBC Canadian Cruiserweight Championship. Rob's looking like he's got, he's feeling some of those shots. He's definitely feeling a little bit of the championship rounds here, moving into our 6th round.
Rob really looking forward to come out in this round. And you can really tell he marshaled his strength during that break. I think he's going to try and come out and really impress Frank in this round and really try to turn the tide back in his favor. Excellent counters from Rob.
can hear some of the young fans here in our family-friendly crowd who's chanting Raging Bull, and you can see why.
Beautiful, beautiful left-hand counter from Frank. You very seldom see him off of balance. If Rob could keep doing that, he's going to win this fight. Fantastic round.
Serious shot. Rob is turning it up. Frank is feeling it, tying it up, trying to get himself back on his bearings.
You see very few clinches between these two fighters. If Frank's trying to tie him up, that shows that he got hurt. Rob really coming out here.
Rob is starting to turn it up. Frank taking the punishment. The determination in that man's eyes is haunting.
You could really see here that he doesn't just want to win rounds. He wants to get Frank in a position where he can stop him. Frank bleeding from his nose again.
I truthfully don't think Frank would be comfortable if he wasn't bleeding from his nose. I mean, this is a man that likes to take punishment and equally likes to give it.
He thrives in adversity, certainly, Jay. And you know what? Once again, the Road Warrior, the crowd against him, chanting the name of his opponent. He's taking shots, and frankly, I think he's having a fantastic time doing it.
Great right hand from Nichols. Trying to pick those holes into the guard of Frank White.
Frank's got a cut on the bridge of his nose, and he takes a huge right hand from Nichols and comes right back. Once again, Nichols really, you can really feel here at ringside throwing the harder shots.
You can see him drop down like he's gonna load that left hand. He comes with that quick straight right, and Frank just does not seem to be able to deal with that or anticipate it coming. And I gotta say, that's gotta be one of the shots I've seen him land more in this fight than anything else.
Yeah, and to prove your point, Rob just landed a big one at very short distance with full power on it.
Great shot again.
White needs to get out of this corner. This is not a good place for him. Fantastic right hand from Rob Nichols.
Oh, great left. Huge right by the champion. Frank's tying him up. You can tell the man is starting to feel it.
His face is bloody and his balance is not great right now. Nichols trying to come in for one last big exchange. Fantastic round for Rob Nichols.
Absolutely. This is a championship fight, and they are showing why these two men have held this belt. You know, Rob says he feels that he's the bigger, the stronger, the taller man, and you know, he's definitely showing the strength that he's had.
Also definitely the younger man at this moment, Jay.
That is very true. See how that fares here in our 7th round of a potential 10. These two men are putting it all on the line for glory.
A couple of good jabs from Rob to get in there.
See the blood now coming from Nichols' nose. Taking a few shots. See how that affects his breathing. Really the challenge, you know, people say, oh, it's a bloody nose, it happens. But the thing that some people don't realize is that bloody nose, unbelievable exchange. The bloody nose can block the airway, and that can really cause you trouble when you're trying to control your breathing to keep your stamina going.
And you know, the corner was wiping the blood away, but they weren't really taking a Q-tip and really going in there to clean it out, which is why it's starting to flow from Rob again. Rob trying to brush it away from his glove with his glove, which shows that it's bothering him a little bit. Getting Frank White back in that hard luck corner. Frank White should avoid being there.
You know, Frank feels comfortable in that corner, but not sure if that's the best decision with the way this fight's been going. Rob has had some incredible exchanges on White when he gets caught in that corner, and he's looking for that counter punch. I just haven't seen it.
Yeah. Rob landing another fantastic right hand. Really holding Frank White at bay with that left hand as well, putting him back in the corner. Rob just walking him down.
Quick little left shot there, though, by Frank as he's coming in.
White's really getting marked up in a way that we really didn't see in the first fight, Jay. He's got that bloody nose. He's starting to get nicks all over, little nicks and little bumps and abrasions all over the place. He is feeling the effect of Rob's punches.
I mean, the damage that wasn't shown in the first couple of rounds is starting to show up here in the 7th. And,
Absolutely.
I gotta say, this is some of the most punishment I've personally seen Frank White take.
Yeah, very true. At the same time, just when you think that he is going to be in trouble, he will start to come back with a good crisp shot. Takes a big right hand from Rob, though.
Rob's just really starting to lay it on him. He's still not being too overly excited. He's not trying to jump in there and finish him here in this 7th round. We know he wants to go to the distance. We know that he feels he's got the ability for the stoppage, but, you know, this is a man who's fighting with his head.
You know, you can really tell Rob knows that he's not going to stop Frank White with one punch there. If he's going to get him out of there, he's going to have to land consistently over a period of time and break him down and really, really work the body. Something we haven't seen him do very much in the last couple of rounds that he's going to have to re-emphasize again.
And the way I describe how you take down a man of Frank White's stature and strength is similar to erosion. It's a consistent level of punishment over time that's going to wear a man of this will down.
It hasn't affected his vision so far, but you know, if Frank begins poking the jab in there and poking the jab in there, you can see that vision becoming a problem for Rob Nichols as we go.
Eight rounds of a potential 10, 7 in the books. The 8th, 9th, and 10th coming forward. These men are going to start to feel this punishment, and they're just gonna have to dig deep to show everybody here and around the world what they've got.
It's really that combination of them being two marathon runners, but they're trying to make their opponents sprint and tire them out so they can take the advantage late. Rob pressing forward, trying to walk Frank into the ropes again. Frank answering back.
Great right hand by Rob, followed by a quick 1-2 by Frank White. Little combination, definitely trying to push him now back out of that corner. I think Frank might be trying to change his strategy a little bit.
Well, one of the things about Frank White is you land a good shot on him, he wants to answer back right away. He wants you to forget that shot and feel his leather back.
He wants the judges to forget that shot too. I mean, he's so quick at that counter. He's really trying to show that this isn't affecting him, even if it is.
Yeah, and it makes his fights very difficult to score.
Frank seems to start looking for that uppercut a little bit. I think he's trying to mix it up a little bit here in the later rounds, trying to throw Rob off his game.
Rob slowing down a little bit here for a moment, taking a couple of big shots from Frank White. Kind of throwing one punch at a time right now.
Frank's starting to look like he's found a little bit of energy, maybe caught a bit of that second wind.
He certainly has owned the first 2 minutes of this round, Jay. See if Rob's able to mount some offense, steal the round from him.
Oh, that's a good shot. Frank drops those hands. It is as if it didn't affect him, but we know this head game that he's playing can only go so far.
Yeah, he felt that shot for sure.
One of my favorite things about combat sports athletes, you know, you see guys who get hurt in heaven forbid I say soccer, flailing all over the place, and then you see some of these athletes, and when they get really hurt, do they frown? Do they get all upset? No, usually they smile.
You know, and some of that is just regret at the fact that, you know, here I am, a professional, I was working very hard and you were able to catch me, you know, and it's sort of recognition, you know, for a job well done. Frank really starting to get bloody. I think he might have a cut, Joe. I think there's a cut over that left eye.
I think he's got a cut in that eyebrow, and again, that's an incredibly dangerous place.
Blood flowing in his hand. His corner's got some work to do. Oh my God, that's an ugly cut.
That is an incredibly deep gash on the eyelid of Frank White.
That is a fight-threatening cut. His corner's got some work to do right now.
There's no questions asked. That is one of those cuts that can stop the fight. I mean, the blood is pouring from his face. You could see the referee coming in to check it out to see if the challenger can continue in this fight. We know Frank would never throw that towel in, but when it comes down to some of the damage, it really comes down to the officials on making the decision if this is something that the fighter can continue with.
That towel is absolutely soaked with blood right now, Jay. This is a very unusual situation. I mean, Frank White fought valiantly in the first fight, but he did so. He was never cut, never meaningfully marked up, had his vision. He is seeing, the Road Warrior is in a significant position of adversity right now. He's going to have to dig deep.
I have seen...
Doctors coming in to check out Frank White, Jay.
Yeah. One of the important elements of this fight is the physicians. The physicians making sure that a fighter is going to be able to compete and not have too much damage. Looks like the doctor has given him the okay.
You are also seeing Frank White spitting blood just to make things even tougher for him. He's starting to spit blood in that ring, which means he's got maybe a cut inside of his mouth. As you know, Jay, that makes it very, very difficult for your breathing. So Frank White having all kinds of problems right now.
Any type of swelling in and around the nose and mouth is a dangerous thing. I mean, he's got two things affecting him right now. He's got a potential effect from that gash over his eye on his sight, and then of course, you know, his breathing's being affected by the shots to the nose and the potential cuts on the inside of the mouth.
Absolutely. And Frank White looking a little bit troubled right now, trying to figure out what to do to turn the tide.
He's got some work to do. There's no questions about that.
Rob Fallon trying to land on that eye.
He is hunting. I think you can see his eyes zoning in. He's got his coordinates and he's ready to let this thing go.
Well, he can not only see blood, he can smell blood in the water right now.
And just to note again, I have blood all over my commentating table.
That eyelid is starting to really hang open.
That blood is pouring down.
Absolutely. And you know, judges, you know, Frank White's so good at answering back and, you know, like you said, Jay, making judges forget about what just happened. But judges don't just score action, they score blood, and they're seeing a lot of it right now.
Yeah, I mean, you can see a little bit of the mouse, as we noted earlier, on the underside of the right eye of Rob Nichols, but there's nothing you can say about the damage that Frank White has taken. I mean, it's evident with the color that you're seeing start to appear on the mat.
This round must just seem like an eternity for Frank White.
I am beyond excited to see this thing go into that 10th round. Into these championship rounds, it's something special watching two men perform at this level. And I mean, I hate to even use the word digging deep because I just don't know how much deeper a man in Frank White's position can go.
Yeah. And you're seeing Frank actually start to swallow blood in his mouth. I think he's got either a problem with his tongue or his cheek. Maybe his mouthpiece shifted and cut him. And really starting to swallow blood, and that's very dangerous for an athlete. If you begin to swallow, it could actually get into your lungs and cause you a problem.
Saw a little bit of that shot to the back of the head there. Both fighters, though, recognizing that was incidental. Tap of the gloves of respect. That's just a common trait of professionals of this caliber.
These two guys know each other very, very well, Jay. You know, they both know they're clean fighters.
Oh,
huge shot.
Great exchange and reaction from the champion.
12 seconds to go here. Rob coming in, trying to land one more shot.
Oh, huge shots. Frank is in trouble.
Huge round for Rob Nichols.
Frank White is going to have to do something miraculous to take this thing away from the champion.
Frank White trying to marshal his strength. Rob sat down, and for the first 10 seconds, they stared right across the ring at Frank White, making eye contact, showing him that he's taking charge of this fight.
Yeah. There's no doubt. Those power behind those strikes. You could just see it. I mean, Frank's eyes were closed on that second exchange.
And that was the right hand from Rob Nichols closing that exchange that opened up the cut.
I gotta say, I don't think it's ever closed. That is something amazing to know this man is fighting with a gash that's as large and as deep as the one that Frank White has over that eye.
And his corner doing a very, very good job at keeping it from bleeding into his eye and hampering his vision. That said, Frank White is a bloody mess right now.
You know, you say a bloody mess, and he definitely looks like he's taking some punishment, but there's something oddly eloquent about the look that these two men have. It looks like guts and glory to me.
Absolutely, going into the last round. Let's see if Frank is going to try and survive to the final bell, or if he's actually going to try and land something meaningful and really try to turn this fight around in his favor.
Frank has got to be loading up that shot. I mean, he's going to want to take the head off of Nichols here. I mean, it's got to be his only shot here to really take this and make it a competitive fight. I mean, I'm no judge, but I've got to think the champion's got the upper hand.
I would be thinking the same thing, that Frank White at least needs a knockdown to be able to grab a couple of points here and make it close on the scorecards.
And you can see Rob making sure he's still continually pressing forward, hunting, not quite at the same pace he was in the first few rounds, but he's never stopped coming forward, and there's something incredibly respectful about that.
Absolutely. Huge shot by Frank White, hurt him.
Nichols got that shot through. He's connected with another left. Frank's in trouble.
Frank was hurt there. You know, Frank has incredible powers of recuperation, and they are being put to the test right now, Jay. Rob spinning him around that cut, hanging open again, and Frank answering back. Rob just stuck a jab right in his face, walking him in. You're going to see he's going to try to land here. Very good body shots from Rob Nichols. Not a lot of power on Frank's shots right now.
We are moving in to the final minute of the 10th round of this Cruiserweight Championship. This has been an incredible installment of this saga, and these two men are really pulling everything they have. Great left hands from the champion, pushing forward.
Rob's trying to knock him out here, Jay.
Oh, a left and a right. He wants this finish.
Frank trying to tie him up, just trying to weather the storm for the next 35 seconds.
This is survival. This is pure survival. He is doing what he can to show his heart, but he is doing everything to stay on those feet and make sure he does not get the knockout. Another great straight left.
Rob just walking him down.
We are in the final seconds, Davis. This is it. It's all on the line. That belt is polished. We're going to see if it's going to stay in the west or go home to the east. That's it, ladies and gentlemen.
Great fight.
That was an absolute war. I can say that I am absolutely honored to be a part of witnessing history.
Crowd coming to its feet now in honor of a great effort by Rob Nichols. Rob inciting everyone to really, you know, show what they thought of this fight, what he brought here to the hometown fans of Cold Lake. Rob Nichols has got to be feeling good right now. That said, the judges have confounded people before with their vision. Sometimes their ability to see a very, very different fight from what the crowd was watching. You got to be feeling that it's going to be a comfortable win for Rob Nichols. But we'll be watching. He's got to be thinking very anxiously, waiting to hear confirmation that he's actually won this fight, taking the belt back home to Cold Lake. And now we go to Jay with the official decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the official decision. Judge Chris Saucer scores it 92. Judge Len Cuevisto scores it 93-92. Judge Joel Scobie scores it 97-93. A unanimous decision winner in the red corner, and still CPBC Canadian Cruiserweight Champion, Rob Raging Bull